Fever dog, bow, bow, bow! Oh.
There we go! There we go!
In fast break points, 17-8. Right, we crushed them in second chance points, 20-11. Okay, all of those things, y'all.
The Seattle Storm thought they could push Caitlin Clark around again. Big mistake. Back in August 2024, Skylar Diggins threw a dirty body check at Clark during their final clash of the season, and the Indiana Fever never forgot. Fast forward to their first showdown of 2025, the Storm came in confident. But what happened next? Nobody saw coming. Clark had her worst shooting night of the year, scoring just 6 points, but that's when her squad showed what they were made of. Aliyah Boston, Lexie Hull, Kelsey Mitchell. They didn't just carry the load, they made history and humiliated the so-called Storm bullies on their home floor. This wasn't just a win, this was payback. And if you're riding with the Fever, drop a "I've got the fever" in the comments right now. Let's break down exactly how Indiana got their revenge and left Seattle stunned. Let's go.
The last two games against the Valkyrie, after the last game against the Las Vegas Aces, a question many of us had was who's going to step up on this Indiana Fever team when Caitlin Clark doesn't have it, when the shot's not falling. If she's not able to carry this team, who's willing to step up and show up when it matters the most, when it's time to buckle down and get this team a victory? Folks, after the last two games, I just wanted a win.
Here's how crazy the reaction was. Dave Portnoy's post about the incident racked up over 250,000 views in just the first 20 minutes. That's how fast this thing spread. Fans were split, but most saw it for what it really was. Clark handled it with pure class, but you could see the frustration building in her teammates' faces. The Storm players acted like nothing even happened. They just walked away, like they didn't just body check the league's biggest star. That made it even worse for Fever fans watching at home. Some people believed the Storm were trying to stop Clark from breaking the assist record. From that moment on, the game felt charged, emotional. It became a turning point, not just for Caitlin Clark, but for how the entire league viewed Seattle's tactics. That one incident sparked a narrative. The Storm weren't just physical, they were bullies, targeting the league's brightest young star. Fans started to see Seattle as the team that went after rookies. And that perception stuck. Why? Because the contact was obvious. And the way the Storm reacted, or didn't, made it worse.
Okay, by now I'm sure you've seen Skylar Diggins assault. Caitlin Clark after Indiana blew out Seattle. Now, was that jail? No. Would it be a fight in the NBA? Yes. What I don't get is the Seattle coach here is the one complaining after the game. It's Skylar, tears in her eyes, being like, how dare Caitlin embarrass me? How dare they beat us by...
What nobody knew at the time was that this moment would fuel the Fever's fire for nearly an entire year. Clark remembered. Her teammates remembered. The coaching staff remembered. They waited patiently for their shot to show Seattle that those cheap tactics wouldn't work anymore. The Fever had grown up since that night in August. Fast forward to June 24, 2025, and Indiana finally had their shot at revenge. This time, they were ready to fight back, but here's what made this revenge game even more unbelievable. Caitlin Clark picked the worst possible night to have her worst shooting performance of the season. She had been lights out all year, dominating defenses, breaking records. But from the opening tip, something was off. You could see it in her mechanics. Her rhythm. The shots weren't just missing, they weren't even close.
Ladies, grow up. They didn't take their starters out in time. What are you talking about? And here's what I love. You think Caitlin's going to back down because they're crying? Like, how can a rookie embarrass us? What do they keep beating us up like this? How is he so good? No, Caitlin doesn't back down at all. She's like, hey, zip it, Skylar. Shut up. Stop crying. She literally mouthed, stop crying. I'm not sure if it's in this video.
She went just 3 for 13 from the field and missed all 6 of her three-point attempts. Those are the kind of numbers that usually spell disaster for Indiana. Clark had been averaging 19.8 points per game before this brutal West Coast road trip. Now, she was stuck at just 6 points with only minutes left in the fourth quarter. Her lowest scoring night of the season couldn't have come at a worse moment. The Seattle crowd was feeding off it. With every missed shot, they got louder. They thought they had Clark rattled. Just like last year, you could hear the energy in the arena every time she pulled up for 3 and clanked it off the rim. They weren't just cheering, They were taunting, trying to crawl inside her head the same way they did during that August nightmare.
The league doesn't know what to do with Caitlin Clark. They don't know what to do with the Indiana Fever. It's not just her, Aliyah Boston, Mitchell, Hull. This team is coming together, and Caitlin Clark is loving it. She's laughing at you, Skylar. Imagine that you bump her, and then you have the audacity to complain about them? Just play ball. You didn't hear Indiana crying when they started off 1-9. They just got up off the mat and started.
But here's where the story gets beautiful. While Clark struggled, her teammates were quietly preparing to make history. This wasn't the same Fever team that got pushed around last season. These players had spent the year watching Clark carry the weight, game after game. Now, it was their turn. And they showed up when she needed them most. Aliyah Boston started heating up in a way no one had seen before. She attacked the rim with vengeance. Every drive looked more forceful, more intentional, like she had something to prove. Boston wasn't just scoring, she was sending a message with every single basket. And the Storm defense, they had no answer for her fire.
Mark behind the back, it goes right to the window on Wheeler. Excellent. It's up the 3-ball by Dantas, and looky here, looky here.
Lexie Hull was crashing the boards like her life depended on it. She was pulling down rebounds over players who had several inches on her. Hull was flying all over the court, diving for loose balls, chasing down possessions. She did the dirty work that doesn't make the highlight reels, but wins basketball games.
Beautiful feed to Aliyah Boston. As Mitchell goes right in at Ezzy Magmador and scores. Oh, Aliyah Boston. A 30-pack tonight. She stay on fire.
Kelsey Mitchell started finding her rhythm from deep. She was knocking down shots that would later be etched into the WNBA record books. Mitchell stepped into the biggest moments when the Fever needed a bucket the most. Her confidence grew with every made three-pointer. Clark's worst night turned into the perfect stage for her teammates to prove that this Fever squad was built different. This wasn't last year's team. Instead of folding when their stars struggled, they rallied around her. They showed Seattle and the league that Indiana wasn't just about one player anymore. The real magic was just beginning, because 3 unlikely heroes were stepping into the spotlight. Boston, Hull, and Mitchell were about to have career nights that would change everything.
Hook pass Aliyah Boston. Gabby closes out on her, now spins on Ezzy. Nicely done, and Boston scores. She's
8 points allowed on their home floor.
And again, Aliyah Boston just straight line drive.
What happened next was the kind of basketball magic that gives you chills. 3 Fever players decided, on the same night, to have the best games of their careers. Aliyah Boston started slicing through Seattle's defense with moves nobody had seen from her before. She was scoring from everywhere, dominating the paint, knocking down mid-range jumpers, even stepping out and hitting from the perimeter. The Storm defense kept scrambling to adjust, but nothing worked. Every time they tried to shut her down, Boston found a new way to score. She was hitting shots she had never made before in her WNBA career, and she made it look effortless.
Offense, not a lot of weak side help after she went behind the back.
Biggest lead of the game for Indiana. They can add to it here on the turnover. Wheeler the only one back. 3-on-1, and Lexie Hull lays it up and in. Coming around is Mitchell. She was public enemy number 1 on the outside for Indiana in the first. There's Hull, wide open look, and striking.
Boston finished with 31 points, a career high, leaving Storm defenders confused, frustrated, and completely outmatched. Her previous best was 30 points against Atlanta back in September, but this felt different. This was Boston taking over a game when her team needed her the most. She wasn't just scoring, she was dominating. She also pulled down 8 rebounds, handed out 3 assists, and grabbed 2 steals. Boston was everywhere, doing everything, on both ends of the floor.